watching, and welcome back to my Red Hat OpenShift Container Platform webinar series. Today's webinar will be on delegating cluster admin rights, so I'm essentially going to help you walk through how to set up a local password identity provider. So I will be using htpasswd, and then we're also going to go through removing the out-of-the-box kubeadmin account. So as you can see here, I have my Red Hat OpenShift Container Platform cluster running. It's running on Google Cloud Platform. You can see the current version I'm running is 4.6.1. You can also see that it's notifying me that I'm logged in as a temporary administrator user. This message will go away once we set up the htpasswd and remove the kubeadmin user. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that. So the easiest way to do this is by by logging in using the command line interface, and then we're going to run through a couple commands to create an htpasswd file, add users to it, delegate the rights as administrator to those users, and then apply those to OpenShift. So you can see I'm currently logged into my OpenShift server. The API URL is the same as the ending part of my console URL. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a directory, I'm going to call it Authenticator. I'm going to switch into that. And then I'm going to create a file called htpasswd. If I list out what's in there, you can see I have my htpasswd file. Now I'm going to use the htpasswd command, with the options uppercase B and lowercase b. I'm going to specify the file that I will be using, and so because I'm already in the folder, it will be htpasswd. If you run this from your root directory, you would then have to specify the full path. I'm going to create an account. And so as you can see, the first entry is Andrew, and the second entry is OpenShift. The first is going to be my username, the second is going to be my password. If I hit enter, you can see it's adding password for user Andrew. I'm going to add one more account. I'm going to name them Carla, just for the sake of repeatability. You can see now I have two accounts. I have an Andrew and a Carla in this htpasswd file. The next step is going to be creating a secret for this file. And so to do that, I use the OC create secret command. I'm going to use a generic secret. I'm going to specify the type of authenticator I'm going to be using. I'm going to specify the file location. Again, because I'm in this authenticator folder, I'm going to just specify htpasswd. And then I'm going to specify the the namespace. And because I'm already logged into OpenShift, it won't ask me to log in, so I can use the OC commands as I see fit. And as you can see, my secret with htpasswd has been created. The next step is going to be to configure the htpasswd identity provider with the name local password that authenticates users using my htpasswd file, as well as the data stored in the secret that I just created. And so to do this, I'm going to use the ocapply command with the -f option. And for the sake of this video, I'm just going to copy and paste it from a note I have here. And so you can see I'm specifying the API version, config.OpenShift version 1, OAuth, which again is what this message in the console is asking me to do. Again, I said the name of the identity provider would be local password, and the type is htpasswd. I've also specified the file data, and I'm pointing it to the secret. So if I hit enter, You do get a warning that OC apply should only be used on a resource created by either OC create, which we have done. And you also get the notification that OAuth has been configured for my cluster. And now, if I wanted to go in, I could see that the OpenShift authentication pod is being spun up. And then once it is done, you can see some of my CPUs being used, some of my resources are being used. Once that's done, I can then log in to OpenShift as either Andrew or Carla. So if I wanted to use local password, I can do Andrew with, again, the same password that I specified in that file. And you can see that I've been able to log in as Andrew. Also note that that banner at the top of the console is gone, as I am logged in with an actual O authentication. And now what we're going to do is we're going to log in as system admin. So that way we can remove the kubeadmin account. So if I do OC logout, I was logged out. And so the easiest way to do this is to export the kubeconfig file. And so I'm going to copy that from a note I have. Again, this is given to you once you finish running the OpenShift installer. You will see an info line output that says to access the cluster as a system admin user when using OC, run this command. As I've done that, I can then log in, specifying the user system admin. And you will only be able to do this on the machine that has the kube config file. So if I do that, you can see I'm able to log in. If I do an OC who am I, it will notify me that I am system admin. And there we go. And so now as we are logged into the system admin, what we're going to do is we are going to create a cluster admin user group for the users David and Carla that we've created. So by doing that in the command line, you do OC ADM to specify that we're running this as an admin command, groups, new, cluster, David, Carla. And so this will create a new group called cluster admins and add the users David and Carla to it, excuse me. So now we're going to grant the cluster admin cluster role to the cluster admins group. And so by doing that, we run OC admin policy, add cluster role to group, cluster admin. So you can see the first cluster admin is the actual OpenShift role. The second cluster admins is the group that I just created with the users Carla and Adam and David in there. And then role binding name equals cluster admins. And then you can see that the cluster admins group has been added to the cluster admin role, which now makes David and Carla cluster admins. And so one way to view this is to log in as one of your users. So I will log in as Carla. Oops, let's say log in. You, Carla, P, OpenShift. And again, adding my cluster URL. Once it notifies me that I'm logged in, you can then check the roles by using the OC auth command, and I will do that once it logs me in. You can see I'm logged in. So if I wanted to do OC auth can I, this allows you to check your roles from the command line interface. Try delete node. As you can see, we are able to do that. So now we have delegated those cluster admin privileges to a new user group, specifically the user group cluster admins that holds David and Carla. And the final step in this is going to be to disable the kubeadmin user. It's only a temp account, and so it's not meant to be used for any day 2 or production level work. And the easiest way to do this is to OC delete secret kubeadmin -n, specifying the namespace, which is kube system. And so now it's been deleted. So as you can see, I won't be able to log in as kubeadmin anymore. If we go to the console, the web console, I can log out. And where it used to ask me to log in as kubeadmin, because it's been deleted, it won't ask me to do that anymore. If I wanted to try logging in as kubeadmin, again, using that password that's specified when the installer is completed, it should not work. There we go. It will not work. And that is how you set up a local authenticator, specifically htpasswd, how you can create 2 new accounts, add those to the htpasswd file, and then specify an application to allow OpenShift to pull from that htpasswd file, as well as how to disable the kubeadmin account. Thank you very much for watching this video. I will be posting more videos as I find more topics to post on.